Hello, it's the Friday Talkie. I'm going to repeat myself. Hello, no, I don't mean that. I mentioned it in the video I did. I think it was on Tuesday, one of my gameplay videos anyway. Podcast, 1 hour, 1 HMPS. What on earth does that stand for? 1 hour monthly podcast show. I really struggle to remember that. I can remember the 1 HMPS thing, and then I can't remember what it stands for. Yes, I was on their podcast. Well, it was recorded about a month, 2 months ago, something like that. And it was uploaded last Saturday, which is why I didn't get to mention it in last week's Friday Talkie, because I didn't know until I'd recorded it already. So I did mention it in the week in a gameplay video, but I know more of you watch the Friday Talkie, so I'm mentioning it again. It was arranged by Andy, 1HMPS Locomaniac, something like that. I'm going to put links down there, and hosted by Malc, with a number at the end that I can't remember, and I haven't got them on the screen. We'll just call it, it's Andy and Malc anyway. Andy organised it, Malc hosted it, and it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed appearing on there. I say appearing, you can't see me, but you know what I mean. What it basically amounted to was Malc and myself sitting there talking gaming and talking about stuff like how I got into things and all of that. And it was very enjoyable because it's very relaxed. There's no pre-arranged like schedule of things to discuss, and I mean I've done a couple of things sort of similar before, so I wasn't completely unfamiliar to the whole podcast concept, but it was incredibly relaxed and very enjoyable, and I'm going to put the link to it down there. It had been pointed out, or has been pointed out, that the sound was a little bit iffy. Personally, I don't give a monkeys. I think it sounds like listening to medium wave radio in the 80s, which is incredibly retro and cool, so I kind of like how it sounds. Yeah, but you know, if you're remotely interested in listening to two guys sitting waffling about games for an hour and having a genuinely good, enjoyable, fun time, do go check that out. I had a blast. I really enjoyed it. I've listened to it about 2 or 3 times, about 2.5 times I think, since it was uploaded. I listened to it all the way through, and then I keep listening to bits here and there. Yeah, check that out. Big thank you to Malc and Andy for having me on there. Okay, what is the main topic this week? I tell you what, I really do struggle for topics sometimes, but I have one now, and I've been planning to do this one for a little while, and now I have the time. Clone systems. I want to talk about clone systems because, as I will have mentioned fairly recently, Andrea and I had our wedding anniversary, and we got each other presents, and one of the things that she got me was this. It is, if you want to give its proper name, it's an ATGames or ATGames, I don't know, Blaze. But it's branded Sega Mega Drive, so it's licensed. It's got 10 games in it. It's got Alien Storm, Altered Beast, Columns, eSWAT, Fatal Labyrinth, Golden Axe, Shadow Dancer, Sonic Spinball, Streets of Rage, and Streets of Rage 3. And it will take cartridges. What do I think of this? What's it like? I will actually show you it in a minute. It's a bit dusty, and you can see the shape of it and that, but what is important about it I will get to in a bit. What's it like to use? Graphical quality is largely okay. It actually has a big plus point over a genuine Mega Drive, or at least over my Mega Drives. They connect to my TV via the RF lead, standard aerial lead, and the quality on my HD TV is fuzzy at best. It's not great. It's not as good as I remember it looking on my old cathode ray tube telly. This uses, is it composite? I don't know. It's got the two, one with video, one with sound leads. I've got them plugged into a SCART thing, and the quality is absolutely really crisp, really clear. You can see every pixel. So in terms of clarity, it's way, way above what my standard Mega Drive looks like. But some of the graphical visual effects don't work. On Alter Beast is the best example I can think of, where, you know, you've got that tree with the face in it that's lobbing faces at you on the first level, and it uses this interlace effect to simulate translucency. That doesn't work on here. You just get this mess. You've got two images at once with lots of lines in it, and it's just like, ugh. You know it's not right, and that happens whenever there's a translucency effect. Where they use alternating interlaced images, it just plain doesn't work. Now, I don't know if that would work on a cathode ray tube TV. It absolutely doesn't work on a LCD HD TV thing. So that's a bit of a bummer. You do get a little bit of graphical glitching artifacts here and there. Like there's that white line across the road on Road Rash 2 that I played recently. That obviously shouldn't have been there. Just every now and then something doesn't look quite right. Minor flaws. It's like using an emulator on a PC. It's not perfect, but it's near enough, and the clarity is fantastic. A bigger issue for me, I think, is the sound. The sound is way off on the music, really. I played Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on it the other day, and visually it was beautiful, really crystal clear, but the music was god-awful. It's like, you initially think it's playing the notes wrong, but it's not. It's like it's got the wrong instruments or something. They just get the nearest thing to it that they can, and a lot of the time it doesn't sound good. I would never play Sonic 1 on there. Though it looks beautiful, it sounds so horrible, it spoils it. The control pads, they look, probably can't see them very well on there. I'll show you in a minute. It's in the other room. I want to show you where it's set up, and you'll see why. The control pads are lovely, really. They are. I like them more than I like normal Mega Drive pads. These are more like the Sega Saturn pad in the shape of them. They're a little bit smaller than a Mega Drive pad, but they're fantastic, really responsive. 6 buttons, great, can't fault them. Really like them. I would use them in preference to a Sega pad. So, given that the graphics are a bit off and the sound is pretty horrendous, why on earth would I want one? And why would I use one? There are a couple of plus points to this. It's got those 10 built-in games, which is good. Some of them are not necessarily easy to find. I mean, I've done the video of it recently. Alien Storm, you don't come across that every day. Streets of Rage 3, try and buy that on eBay for a sensible price. You can't. I don't know about the other ones. So, 10 games, that's a pretty good reason to buy one there and then. The thing costs, well, I don't know, you see it on eBay for about £22. I bet you can find it cheaper if you try. But there's another aspect to it, and I'm going to show you that now. Let me move this camera into the other room. Here it is. So you've got your on-off button there, menu button there. You press that when it's turned on, and it'll give you a menu where you can select one of the built-in games. Cartridge slot there. Notice the size of that, and then think about how big a genuine Mega Drive is. In fact, okay, I've got a Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge. See the size of the cartridge in the machine. The machine is tiny. We need more light. We don't have more. Let's just pull it out here a bit. See, the console is very, very small. Take that out of there, bring it over here where I've got a genuine Mega Drive, which you can't see because it's so damn dark in here. Put that in there, you know, you're talking big. You know what a Mega Drive looks like. Even the Mega Drive 2 is big compared to this thing here. So I've got a selection of consoles set up by my telly, which are all plugged in, wired up. I can just turn on the telly, turn on the console, and play. So I've got the Dreamcast, I've got the Xbox, I've got the PS3, meaning I can play PS1, 2 and 3 games. I've got the Amiga down there, I've got an Atari 7800 there. All of these are set up and ready to play whenever I like, and that's taking up all the space available in this area. And I've got this little space here, and I can fit this little dinky thing here, and it's unobtrusive and fits in that space, and one of those won't. So yeah, there is a good reason for having one of these. It will fit into dinky little spaces. It is unobtrusive. It's handy if you just want to play a Mega Drive game, aren't too fussed about the quality of the gaming experience that you get from it. It's perfect. You don't have to get out a big full-size Mega Drive and find somewhere to put it and set it up and mess around with wires and cables and blah blah blah, because it's already here. That's a good reason for owning one. Whether or not that would apply to anyone else, I don't know. Maybe not, but certainly in this games room, yeah, it matters. Here's the joypad. I think that's, isn't that what the Saturn ones look like? I can't see one from here. They're certainly not that much like the Mega Drive one, but they are really nice. The D-pad is great. It is really good. I like them. Right, so that's the Blaze Mega Drive thing. I've also got this weird Famiclone thing. I can't even remember what it's called, and I can't be bothered to dig it out because I'm lazy. It looks like an N64, but it plays Famicom games, and I've got like a 92 games in one cartridge thing. There's got lots of ROM hacks and repeat versions of games, and a lot of it is absolute rubbish, but some of the games are really quite good. And here's the thing, here's what I want to talk about. Having gone into the details of the Mega Drive thing, the main topic I want to talk about is clones, be it Famiclones, Mega Drive clones, all these reproduction. Like you can get your plug and play in televisions, your plug and play Ataris, like the Flashback and the Flashback 2, and your little joystick thing with Atari games in it, and there's the Namco joystick, and all of these things, clones and plug and plays. What is their relevance to a retro collector? How do they matter? Are they relevant? Are they legitimate? Because when I started collecting, I was entirely looking at original hardware. If I was going to buy an Atari, it had to be made by Atari. And I looked at the Flashback and I thought, well, that's not a real Atari. I'm not interested in that. The Intellivision plug and play handheld things came out, and I looked at them and thought, well, that's not an Intellivision. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. This was my attitude, and I expect probably the attitude of quite a few retro collectors, because they're not the original thing. The hardware's not the same. They emulate the original hardware a lot of the time. But having got a couple of these kind of things now, my attitude has changed a little bit, and not just in terms of what these things can do. I mean, it's fun that you can have a mass of games from old consoles built into one thing, and you just plug it in and there they all are, and there's no swapping cartridges, and they're small so they don't take up a lot of space. That is good. But actually, as collectible items, I'm starting to think they are legitimate as a collectible. But here's the thing, you couldn't put one of these on your shelf and say, yeah, I've got a Mega Drive. you'd get laughed out of town by anyone who knew anything about anything. It isn't. You can't say that's a Mega Drive. You just can't, because it isn't. Whoops. That was an empty box. But it's still something that I think is a valid collectible thing. As a clone, I think if you actually set them aside as a completely different thing, they're clone systems, they're plug and plays. They're not. It's not a retro games console, as in vintage, as in, you know what I mean. But I find them interesting, as it's like collecting reproduction furniture. You know, finding a genuine Chippendale or Wedgwood things, Wedgwood Chinaware actually, I don't know, genuine antiques, and then you've got your reproductions, and some people will just collect the reproductions because it's more affordable or more convenient or whatever. And I think collecting these things actually can be a valid form of retro collecting, so long as you're acknowledging what it is that you're collecting. I think it's like you can have your Mega Drive collection Blu-ray for your PS3 or whatever, or I've got an Intellivision collection for the PS2, and I couldn't say, yeah, I've got an Intellivision collection. Couldn't do it. You could say you've got all those games, but it really isn't the same thing. But if you've got one of those plug and plays, you still can't say, yeah, I've got a great Intellivision collection. But you can say, yeah, I've got this plug and play thing. Acknowledge what it is, and I think it becomes valid. It's just a completely different side of collecting retro stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the general consensus on that would be, but it's certainly something I'm looking at and thinking, I might get into those. I'm finding them more interesting than I used to. I keep looking at them on eBay, like that Namco one, just because I want to try pole position where you can turn the joystick and use it like a wheel, because so far I haven't found the version of that game, apart from the Vectrex, where it's remotely playable, because you need that kind of responsive thing. Anyway, I'm pausing because I can hear things going on downstairs and I don't know what's happening. I'm thinking, am I going to be interrupted? Apparently not. Yeah. So that's what I think there, kind of waffling and whatever. I think it's time I went and did a shout out. So let me turn this camera around. Okay then, today's shout out. Brand new channel, I believe. Certainly, I say brand new, this one's 3 weeks old. He's only got 3 videos at the moment, but I'm expecting good things from this channel. It is Dan's Game Corner. I have only noticed him recently. He came along and has left a few comments on my channel. So I went and had a look at his channel and watched his videos, and I like them. So I'm shouting him out, because that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? He has got a couple of PC Engine CD game, Dengine, I don't know what that game is really, and a PC Engine here, Dragon Egg, and a Neo Geo CD game here, Rag Guy. Yeah, okay. He's got a very cool, calm, collected way of reviewing the games, and he goes into detail. You know, there is attention to detail in these videos, something you certainly don't get in mine. These are informative videos, and he's got a very chilled, calm manner. I always talk about people's manner, and that really is, I mean, for me, that is what it's all about. Do I like the way this person does their thing? Yes, I like how Dan does his thing, so I like his videos. And that's why I'm shouting him out, really. I mean, there's not a lot more I can say. I'm hoping he does plenty more, because 3 videos is not a lot, but you can't blame him for that, because he's July 16th, you know. Just starting out, already very good. So I think great things can be expected here. Dan, do more. I'll watch, and hopefully plenty of others will as well. 33 subscribers at the moment. He's got a cool accent. You'll see what I mean, or hear. Yes, there you go, Dan's Games Corner. I will put the link down there. Okay, Let me turn this thing around. Yeah, I just had a thought, having got that out of the way. Coming up, and something else. Okay, I actually bothered to change the SD card that time. How unusual. Coming up, first off, there's going to be a few more Mega Drive games, because I've got some games left to do on here, and they're kind of fun, and I think it's all set up and ready to go, so why not? That's just me being lazy, it's easy to do. I'm going to do those 2 Dreamcast games that I bought whilst on holiday, and I just got an Atari 7800. Alright, I already had one, but it had that horribly corrupted graphic thing going on, and that's obviously a standard thing on 7800s, because the one I just got does the same thing, but not quite as bad. So, and I have some games with that, which I'll do some videos of them. Yeah, something else I wanted to mention. Every now and then someone they'll say, would you like blah blah, these games or this game or some games or something, and sometimes I say cool, great, thanks, and sometimes I don't, and sometimes I am such a dither, and I'm like, I just procrastinate, and I'm thinking, it's not do I want them, it's actually really hard to explain, and I'm sure it can be annoying for the person on the end if I'm sitting there dithering and they're thinking, well, do you want them or not? And the truth is I do, but I feel kind of awkward about the whole thing as well. So, to those who I've done that to recently, you know who you are. It's absolutely not me being ungrateful, it's me kind of pulling my hair out, because I sit there and think, I don't deserve these. And I know, you know, people say, yeah, you've entertained us, so we want to give you something, or whatever. I kind of understand it, and I kind of don't. I'm always incredibly grateful. I'm just kind of awkward and clumsy about it, not knowing how to handle that kind of thing. Invariably I end up accepting, sometimes probably far too late. But yes, to all that, there have been several of you just recently, huge big thanks. I will do individual thank yous as stuff arrives, and I will do videos of assorted games from things that get, you know what I mean, that they will appear on here in due course. Yeah, I just wanted to address that, because I know it can, from the other end, must seem completely odd when I'm dithering and appearing to be unresponsive. I'm actually just awkward. Okay, I think that covers everything. Normally I take a break over the weekend, but I'm kind of, at the moment, there having been so few videos over the week while I was on holiday, I'm wanting to cram stuff in. So maybe I'll have some over the weekend as well. We'll see. I would say yes, there will be, but you know, when I say I'll do something, invariably I don't. So I'm going to say maybe some more over the weekend. But yeah, I think I've covered everything. I'll shut up now because I'm waffling badly. Thank you for watching.